Joined now by the head coach of the Minnesota State Mavericks, Mike Hastings. Appreciate you joining us this afternoon. I know you're awfully busy. Yep. Well, let's get started with your impressions of taking the Mavericks to the Frozen Four for the first time, and maybe follow up with your general thoughts on the season, please.
Well, first of all, very thankful for a season. When we first started this and went through multiple stops and starts, our first trip to Bemidji and getting through one game and then having that series disappear. A couple of others, the Northern Michigan series coming here, where they're supposed to be on their way, and that one goes by the wayside because of COVID. Just very thankful for us being able to get to the end of a season. So the administration, our university, the Vigilant, our group, the guys staying after what they needed to stay after so that we would have an opportunity to consider the back half of the schedule to be as important as it was and get to the playoffs and then get to an NCAA tournament, and the NCAA allowing us to crown a champion in UMass. It was a ride that you didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring. So very thankful that way. Second of all, very thankful for our group. And blessed to be able to be around the young men that we were around this entire season, because they raised the bar here at MSU, finding a way for us to win our first NCAA game, have an opportunity to win our fourth consecutive regular season championship, and then win a regional and beat a very good Minnesota team and lose a very hard-fought game against St. Cloud State. So a phenomenal season, one that is still a little raw, whether you're talking to me, anybody on our staff, fans, and our players. They're still thinking about what if. And what I've tried to tell them is if I would have been able to script what has gone on this year, you probably wouldn't have believed it. So I'm very thankful for all those things and look forward to hopefully getting everybody off at the end of the year, getting done with the academics, doing the things that they need to do so we can start to prepare for the following season.
You've won a lot of championships in your career, Mike, from Clark Cups in the USHL to McNaughton Cups, playoff titles in WCHA, now the NCAA Regional Championship and the trip to the Frozen Four. How does the most recent happenings compare to what you've experienced in the past?
Well, one, it's still, like I said, raw. It's still, I think time to reflect is coming now, on the season, but we've still got to make sure that we're taking care of our athletes, the ones that are returning, the ones that are looking to move on to pro hockey, the ones that are looking to move into life in the professional world. We've still got some responsibilities that we've got to take care of as a staff and as a program. So we're focused on those right now. You're very proud of the season we had, and you want to take that for what it is. And I think that'll come in the coming days, the months, to get feedback from alumni, to get feedback from the community, and the support that we've had again from our administration all the way down is just very proud to be part of a program that does things the way that this program does. And so we'll reflect at that at a later date. We've still got some things on our plate right now that we need to take care of.
What did the senior class mean to the program, and where are you in the process of determining which of them, if any, will be returning next year?
What they've done, and I've said this to a couple of them, because when you walk in that locker room after them not achieving the opportunity to play for a win their last game and falling just a little bit short, as a coach, you want to kind of take that pain away, and you can't. And so been able to have some conversations with a few of them at this point, and, tell them how appreciative we are about 4 league championships in a row, playoff championship, 3 out of the 4 years going to the NCAA tournament, winning our first NCAA game, winning a regional, and getting to the Frozen Four. I've asked a couple of them, if I told you day one when you walked on campus, if that's going to be the legacy that you left, how would you feel about it? And, it changed the tenor of the conversation, because I think it just put into perspective a little bit of what they've been able to do as far as elevating our program. So that group's very special. Trying to give them some time is what we're trying to do, even though we don't have a lot of it. Finishing in April doesn't give you a lot of time to start preparing and give guys 2-3 weeks to back off and go decide what's going on, whether that's starting their professional career in hockey or starting their professional career in life. So we're still in the process of vetting that and communicating with them and trying to be as patient as we can and supportive as we can be, so that they're doing what they want to be doing and that they're going to be all in with whatever they choose.
Can you talk about how this run elevates your program, whether it's recruiting or fan interest? How key will it be to capitalize on this momentum?
I think it's real important. What I found in being in the coach's chair for a while now here at MSU and then other programs, more as an assistant coach at other programs in college, and then being as a head coach in the USHL. Once you get to one level, that bear still needs to be fed again because it's hungry, and there's expectations at our program, from administration, from community, and actually inside the locker room to be competing for championships and having an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament year in and year out. And so there's a lot of work that goes into that primarily is all the heavy lifting's done within the locker room. And the guys that are leaving are proud about what they've left. And the guys that are coming in understand that there's expectations of what we need the future to be. And so with that, I think it's an opportunity for us on the rink, off the rink, marketing, making sure that we let everybody know how appreciative we are about them supporting us. I'm hoping next year we'll be able to have a full house the first night and start the 21-22 season the way that you'd like to, which is with a full house. But most importantly, it's about everybody staying safe and doing it in the appropriate way. And I think we're getting closer to that as this pandemic goes on.
There were a couple of firsts this year for your program, Mike. The first two NCAA tournament wins. We hadn't done that before. The first trip to the Frozen Four. What did you learn as a head coach over the course of this process?
Well, I was fortunate to reach out to a few guys that had gone through it before and had more success than I had. And one of the things that they said, and I think played out, enjoy it, enjoy the time, because it's over in a hurry. We wanted to be in Pittsburgh through Saturday night, and we weren't. But I guess the joy in other people's eyes when you get to walk in a locker room and you see a group that win an overtime game at a regional and you beat Quinnipiac and you move on to play against a very qualified and accomplished Minnesota team and find a way to play a very good hockey game there to give you an opportunity to get to the Frozen Four. And then you take a little collective breath, one, because of the pandemic, two, because there's some time off in between the regional and the Frozen Four. And all of a sudden it starts again. You get excited about your next step. So, I guess the biggest thing that I've learned is to be appreciative of where you're at, because there's been times where we've gotten to the NCAA and haven't moved on, had to turn the page in a quick hurry and start preparing for the next year. That's not a lot different than this, because I do know that the expectation level for us to try and get back to Boston next year, there's a lot of work in between now and then. And so we're just going to focus on what we get to control, which we always do, is what we're doing every day, and move on from there.
Does your offseason change much this year, given the move into a new conference, or not too much, because there are so many WCHA teams moving into the CCHA, so there's some continuity?
Not tremendously. The thing that changes is coming out of a pandemic, which we've never done before, right? In us having an opportunity to you look at our first 4 games this next season, it's not in conference in the CCHA. We start with 2 games against St. Cloud State, who will be the last team we played. And then that's at home here at the Civic. And then we turn around and we go up to Duluth and we play in the Icebreaker. And I haven't talked to Scotty yet to see who we're playing, but I'm assuming it's not going to be Duluth. And so that means it's either going to be Michigan or it's going to be Providence, and then we come back and we start a very difficult CCHA schedule. So for us, it's getting back a little bit to the norm. We've always been able to supplement our regular season schedule with, I think, a very challenging non-conference schedule, and it's going to be no different this year.
We've already seen so much activity in the transfer portal. How much is the free year impacting your roster construction? It basically seems like free agency out there.
You know what, when you talked earlier about what are your expectations or what's going on right now, there's so many different balls in the air. And one, we're trying to do it in as structured as an environment as you can. And what I mean by that is let's take care of ours first. Let's take care of our seniors, communicate with them on what their goals are and what they're looking at. Our incoming freshmen, communicating with them, also communicating with our returning players on where they're at. Are their roles going to change? Is the opportunity that they thought was going to be there a year ago or 2 years ago going to be there this upcoming year? So try and take care of our own first. And then we're monitoring the transfer portal. We're dealing with some of those things. And I think it's a little bit of a balancing act right now. And so one of the biggest words that we've tried to, I guess, control in our environment is communication, and trying to make sure that we're there to communicate with the players that we have, and try and make sure we're giving them as much guidance and as much support as we can as they're going through a time that they've never experienced either.
Well, one of the guys that isn't going to be back is Walker Dewar. We know where he's going to be. He's been with the Flames organization. What are some of the attributes that helped Walker earn that contract with NHL's Calgary Flames?
Well, first of all, when the lights were the brightest, he played his best. You know, you're playing in a game like that, and he goes out, and I think he had 1-1, and his attributes are pretty straightforward. He's big. He can fly. Fear is not a word that's in his repertoire. He's a guy that's willing to go into any area that he needs to do to be successful, whether that's to go get a body or go get a puck. And I just think it's hard to find somebody at 6'3", 210 pounds that skates and has those other attributes that he brings to the table. And, you know, he was humbled early in the year. I think it was 8 games he had gone at the beginning of the year and hadn't scored a point, and finished on a tear. So I think if there's one thing you can take as far as an experience that we can share with others when they're in that spot, is it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And well-deserved and happy for him, and look forward to following his career.
We have time for one more question. I'll take an opportunity to ask one more before we take another question from someone online here. But what do you got planned for the offseason? Mike, you get a chance to relax at all? What you still have going to follow Hannah to the softball diamond? She's a senior with the Maverick softball program. You got any plans?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to bundle up and do it. I wish it was a little warmer, but yeah, I'm going to watch her play her senior year and go through that and reconnect with my family. I'm excited about my son Hudson coming back from Northeastern University and spending some family time and taking care of my wife and our dog. And so reconnecting that way. But at the end of the day, you know, the page does get turned, and we've got a lot of expectations for us going forward. My staff's working tirelessly right now at trying to figure out what we do have left and what we need to fill as far as some holes. So that really never changes or pauses. It's just sometimes it gets a little more active than others. And I'm looking forward to what's in front of us. I'm proud of what is behind us. And I think it's an exciting time to be part of MSU hockey.